Hello aspirants, looking at current affairs for 26 Jan. The news items that we have picked up from the Hindu are these 9. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, Tamil Nadu's new Jallikattu law faces challenge in Supreme Court. So we have been following this news on Jallikattu almost every day now since the last few days. So you must be knowing about the developments so far. Just taking a look back at it, 2014 Supreme Court declared Jallikattu as illegal and banned it. After that, in 2016, Jan 7, 2016, central government came out with a notification which effectively allowed Jallikattu to be conducted. This notification of Jan 2016, which has completed almost a year now, has been challenged in the Supreme Court. So the case is being heard. Presently, it was to give a judgment on this, but the central government, the Attorney General of India, Mr. Mukul Rohatgi, is representing the center. We saw a few days back, he had made a representation in the Supreme Court and said that this judgment on the Jan 7, 2016 notification of the center should be delayed because protests were going on in Tamil Nadu. He said emotions are running high, the situation is volatile, and central government along with the state is coming up with a solution to this problem. So in the meantime, the Supreme Court should delay its judgment, and the Supreme Court agreed to this as well. Later, we saw in the news that the central government now said that we want to withdraw this notification of Jan 7, 2016 on which a case is running in the Supreme Court. The reason being that the state legislature is coming up with a law on this. And we already saw this law, Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, Tamil Nadu Amendment Bill of 2017 has been initiated. It has been brought before the central government. So the president has to approve it. Why? Because this is a provision under the concurrent list. It is under Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act 1960. So it's a central law. So if state wants to make any changes to it, central's approval is required. So president will approve it and then only the bill would be introduced in the legislature and passed by it. So this process, because this process is going on, that 2016 notification will be withdrawn. So then the case is already running and the judgment has not been provided on it. So now, as expected, on the lines as expected, that a petition has been filed against this amendment bill too. So the Supreme Court has agreed to hear a plea on this too. So although this is not yet a law in place, it is just the initiation of the process. But since it is on something which the Supreme Court has already banned, that is why the Supreme Court has agreed to hear a plea of the Animal Welfare Board of India. So we'll see what will be the Supreme Court stand on this matter too. So this is Animal Welfare Board of India, which was the main petitioner even in the 2016 notification case. So now in this also it has put in a petition along with other animal rights activists and groups on saying the passage of this Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Tamil Nadu Amendment Bill of 2017. So this is regarding that. The next news item is regarding the Animal Welfare Board of India, the main petitioner. One thing you should know is that this is a body which has been established under this Prevention of Cruelty to Animals Act of 1960 only. So it was established in 1962. It works under the Ministry of Environment and Forest, and it also provides grants to animal welfare organizations across India. So it is for prevention of cruelty to animals. So it's for animal welfare. The next news item is enhanced withdrawal limits for candidates, Election Commission to RBI. Post demonetization, we know that the government, the RBI has put a limit on withdrawals, and this limit has been 24,000. But then for the 5 states in which elections are scheduled, the candidates who are standing for elections have to do expenditure, will spend, and there is an expenditure limit, statutory expenditure limit on them, and that has been fixed as 28 lakh for the larger states like Punjab, Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh, and for the other 2 poll-bound states, Goa and Manipur, which are smaller, the limit is rupees 20 lakh. So if only 24,000 rupee withdrawal is allowed, and there is around 3-4 weeks till the time the entire process, election process lasts, in that time they will not be able to spend or withdraw these lakhs of rupees. So that is why the Election Commission is saying that till March 11 will be the declaration of the results. So till that time the limit of withdrawal should be enhanced to rupees 2 lakh for these candidates who are standing for elections in these 5 poll-bound states. So this is a request by the Election Commission to the RBI. The next news item is precedent for simultaneous Lok Sabha assembly polls. So the President Pranab Mukherjee has again made a pitch for simultaneous elections to state legislature and the Lok Sabha. So this has been the demand of a suggestion as such by the government. The Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also been keen on having simultaneous elections for Lok Sabha and state assemblies, so that this model code of conduct, which again and again comes into effect and affects the routine governance work continuously in the governance work of the governments, will be stopped, and also again and again expenditure on elections would not take place. It would be simultaneous elections for Lok Sabha and state assemblies which would take place. So major reason was they said that government is always in propaganda mode. So they always propaganda going on for the elections. So this should not be the case. That's why a pitch has been made for simultaneous elections, and now a suggestion has also come forth of how simultaneous elections would take place, because a major concern in this is that if simultaneous elections take place, so once it is fixed, so that Lok Sabha and all state legislatures in the country, for the first time it can be phased out and simultaneous elections could be held. So say in 2020, if simultaneous elections are being held for all states and central legislature, the parliament, then 2025 would be the 5 years completion of each of these legislative bodies. So within these 5 years, if any government falls, loses confidence in the house. So if any government loses confidence in the house, the government falls. So if anything like this happens in any of the legislative assemblies in any of the 29 states, even the 2 union territories, Delhi and Puducherry, which have legislative assemblies, or at the central level, then what should be the case? Then that state would be out of the cycle. Then next time simultaneous elections would not be possible. And slowly, if each state moves out, then the whole process would be a waste. So way out of this is that from 2000 to 2025, 2020 to 2025, this 5-year tenure has been fixed. If no confidence motion needs to be initiated in the House, then along with the no confidence motion, a confidence motion has also to be initiated. So no confidence motion is always initiated by the opposition, that a proposal that they don't have confidence in the government who is in power. So the executive is formed, the government is formed by the party which has majority in the legislature. So if the political party or coalition who has majority in the House is not able to prove its confidence, does not have at least 50% plus votes, 50% plus votes, then it loses its majority and the government falls. So that in that case, what should happen is simultaneously even a confidence motion, that is an alternate government, should also be proposed by the opposition. So both confidence motion and no confidence motion should be introduced together, and if they are both passed, then there is no need for another election as such. The alternate government which has got the confidence in the House, now majority in the House, can continue. So that is a suggestion which has been put forth, and this is already in place in some countries. So in Germany, this is how it functions. So you can see, so this has been recommended. So a no confidence and a confidence motion passed together. So that way it is possible. So simultaneous elections are also held in South Africa and Sweden. So India can also go ahead with this. The next news item is India marginally improves on Transparency Corruption Index, scores 40 out of 100. So in this news, in the Hindu coverage, there is a little error. So be clear with this. It says that we are at 40th rank. It's not the ranking, it's the score out of 100. So higher the score out of 100, the better your ranking. So means the top ranked countries under Corruption Perception Index are the least corrupt countries. So India's rank on this is low. 40 out of 100 has been the score of India and even other major economies like China and Brazil too for 2016. So at this score, they all have been ranked 79. So India's rank is 79. It has improved a little from last year. So it was a score of 38 out of 100 in 2015. So right now it has increased to 40. So that is a marginal increase, but still the corruption perception is high. So this corruption perception index comes out annually by Transparency International, which is an international NGO based in Berlin in Germany. So this is based on perception of corruption in the public sector. And this is done, index is calculated using data from various organizations like World Bank, World Economic Forum, etc. So then the ranking is done, and this ranking is for around 176 countries presently. Even Pakistan ranks low, it scores 32 out of 100. The least country or the lowest ranked country is Somalia, which is said to be the most corrupt country in Africa. It lies in Africa. The other countries with low ranking are Syria, South Sudan, North Korea, Afghanistan, and Iraq. So this is regarding Corruption Perception Index. Transparency International and NGO. It was founded in 1993 only. So it gives this Corruption Perception Index annually, even Global Corruption Barometer, which it comes out annually with. So this is regarding that. So this is the Corruption Perception Index. The darker the color means the lower the rank, and it is highly corrupt country. So here lies India, you can see. So this is the rank 2. You can see India's rank is 79. So score is 40. So you can see China, India, and Brazil. Score is 40 and rank is 79. The next news item is India UAE signs strategic partnership pact. So India UAE the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi, one of the Emirates in UAE, has been the chief guest for Republic Day celebrations, and on these sidelines we have signed 14 agreements with UAE. One of them is even the Comprehensive Strategic Partnership Agreement, then agreement on defense, maritime transport, cyber security, shipping, and transport. They have also been signed. One major agreement which we planned to sign but have been unsuccessful in is the investment fund agreement between MOU. It would be an MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, between Sovereign Wealth Fund of UAE and the National Infrastructure Investment Fund of India. So we were expecting major investment from UAE into this Infrastructure Investment Fund, which had been announced by the Union Finance Minister in his budget speech in 2015. So this MOU could not be signed. So this has been a setback. About NIIF, what you should know is that it has been proposed to be established as an alternate investment fund under SEBI regulations. Initially, government has said that 20,000 crore rupees would be provided by it, and another 20,000 crores would be coming from the private sector. 49% stake would be of the government. So it would be a private fund. It would be used to help funding infrastructure sector, means core infrastructure projects would be assisted. Both greenfield and brownfield projects which need to be made viable would be funded through this. So it would be a fund of funds. So under this, funds would be provided for various sectors in the infrastructure as such. So this is regarding that. The next news item is India to fill strategic reserve facility at Mangaluru with oil from UAE. So this is another deal which has been signed between India and UAE. So we have this strategic reserve system of oil. So we have these oil reserves, oil storage facilities. One of them is in Mangaluru, which is an underground crude oil storage facility. Half of it has already been assured and has been filled with oil from Iran. The other half will be filled with oil from UAE. So this has been the deal which has been signed. So this is regarding that. So this is 6 million barrels would come from Iran for the other half. So another one would be required. 6 million barrels would be coming from UAE. Then the other such strategic reserves which we have developed, our storage sites are one in Vizag in Andhra Pradesh, and another one is in Padur in Karnataka. So in this Vizag storage site, we have 7.55 million barrels capacity, which has been filled with Iraqi oil. So oil from Iraq. So we have diversified our sources also. Iranian oil, UAE oil, Iraqi oil. And then even this Padur facility, which has 18.3 million barrel facility, we are inviting bids from suppliers for this. Then the next news item is India a true friend, says Trump. So US President Donald Trump, who recently assumed office, he has had telephonic conversations with various heads of governments in various countries. So Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also been communicated with. He's the fifth world leader with whom President Donald Trump has communicated. The others being Canadian Prime Minister, Mexican President, Israeli Prime Minister, and Egyptian President. So that is the significance which is attached to India by US President, and he has called India a true friend and partner in addressing challenges around the world. So they were spoke on areas as such as economy, defense, security in the regions, the South and Central Asia, and then also regarding global fight against terrorism. So this shows how India is important for USA. The next news item is China backs regional trade pacts after US exits TPP. So TPP is Trans-Pacific Partnership. So this was an agreement between 12 nations in the Trans-Pacific region around the Pacific Ocean. They had signed this trade agreement under the presidency of Barack Obama when he was the president of USA. But then presently, after President Donald Trump assumed office, he has made USA exit from TPP. So China is not a member under TPP. We'll discuss what is Trans-Pacific Partnership too. But then on this, as a response to this, China has backed regional trade pacts now. It has showed its backing to RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which ASEAN plus 6 are discussing, where China is a member, and also Free Trade Agreement of Asia Pacific. So APEC, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation, is an organization where again China is a member. So FTA has been negotiated there too. So both have been supported by China now. So this is regarding the Trans-Pacific Partnership too, which you should know. So this was between these two, among these 12 nations in the Trans-Pacific region: Canada, USA, Mexico, Peru and Chile, then Japan, Vietnam, Brunei, Singapore, Malaysia, Australia and New Zealand. So this Trans-Pacific Partnership mentioned about the rules for global trade. So they would help increase in made in America exports. So there would be a growth of American economy, but it will support as such the major multinational companies. So it was felt that the multinational companies would be benefited, but American middle class might suffer as well. But the overall economy, once it flourishes, then the trickle down effect which would be there would go to the middle class as well. So that was the justification given, that American economy would prosper, but then since it is favoring only multinationals and not the common people, President Donald Trump has decided and he has exited from TPP as he had promised even during the polls. So this is regarding APEC, the next FTA, Asia Pacific Economic Cooperation. So this APEC comprises of 21 states and they come to overall account for 60% of the world's GDP. So here USA is also a member and China is also a member. You can see USA, Russia, China. India is not a member in APEC, though it wants to be, but they had put a moratorium on new memberships. So there are 21 members and they have not increased the membership. So you can see the countries which are members of APEC also. So here few of them are the same as TPP, Trans-Pacific Partnership. You can see we have the same countries here too, along with China and Russia as well. Then the next news, then this is regarding RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, which is being negotiated here. China is also part of it as well as India. USA is not in the picture here. So this is between ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, the 10 nations under ASEAN organization, plus 6 countries with whom they negotiate. So this ASEAN plus 6 are having a trade agreement finalized. So this is a mega regional trade agreement, RCEP. So the initiation of this agreement was also started quite long and it is still going on. They have not been finalized yet. So plus 6 apart from ASEAN is Australia, New Zealand, China, Japan, India and South Korea. So others are the 10 ASEAN members plus these 6 countries. So this is RCEP. So it is also a mega regional project. It comprises of around 47.7% of the world population, this region. In terms of GDP, it comprises of 29% of world trade as such of all countries. So this is regarding GDP per capita also shown. But the countries range from very well doing economies like Singapore to badly functioning economies like Myanmar also. So all are together badly functioning in the terms of ease of doing business rankings. Then the last news item is GM mosquito trials to control dengue chikungunya launched. So in India, outdoor trials are going to take place to demonstrate the efficiency of genetically modified mosquitoes, which have been used to suppress wild female Aedes aegypti mosquito population, which is responsible for transmitting diseases. These are vector-borne diseases. The mosquito is just the vector which is carrying the virus. So these vectors are the Aedes aegypti mosquito, in this case the female Aedes aegypti mosquito. You should know this, that it's only the females who bite and suck the blood because they need it for hatching their eggs, preserving for nutrition for the eggs. So this female Aedes aegypti mosquito needs to be eliminated because they transmit diseases like dengue, chikungunya and Zika virus. So this particular species has been targeted. So this case trials would take place in Maharashtra's Jalna district by this particular organization which is leading it. And these are on the basis of the technology called RIDL. So this RIDL technology is release of insects carrying dominant lethal gene. So it would be the male species which would be carrying this dominant lethal gene, and it would be put in the environment and for open field trials. And this research on this in the laboratory has already been taking place in India since 2012. So this, when the two mate, the offspring born in 99% of the cases will not go beyond the larvae stage to adulthood. So before that they die. So then they are not lethal at all. So the vector is targeted. So these are the genetically modified male Aedes aegypti mosquito used for the purpose. And since male mosquitoes do not bite humans, the GM males, even if they are released in large numbers, it will not have any risk of spread of dengue, chikungunya or Zika virus. So that is also there. The alternate, another method of genetic modification which is used for the same purpose is using Wolbachia. Wolbachia is a life-shortening bacteria strain. So this bacteria strain is introduced in both males and females, means both are genetically modified, but this Wolbachia can be only inherited from the female side. So if a male bites a female who is uninfected, the offspring in that case are not actually born only. So the embryos will not result in fertilization of the egg. But then in case of females being infected by this Wolbachia, irrespective of whether the male is infected or not, the offsprings are born, but they carry this Wolbachia. So it's when Wolbachia is carried by them, then the viruses, dengue, chikungunya, Zika virus, they cannot replicate as such. So this is limited. But then Wolbachia, that's why this is called a self-sustaining technology, means they can be replicating themselves again and again without any new release of genetically modified mosquitoes as required in the first case, that male mosquitoes have to be released to infect the female. So that is not required in this case because it is maternally. So it's shown here in detail. You can see that this is the genetic modification done, and this gene is inserted in the mosquito. It also results in the mosquito glowing when it is seen under a fluorescent microscope. So these males are bred. So they are, then the females which come out as offsprings, they are removed, and all these males are introduced in the open as such. And then when they mate with the wild female mosquito, the offsprings, they do not reach adulthood, they all die. In this Wolbachia case, the case is that if female is unaffected, then embryos do not develop only. If female is affected too, irrespective of whether the male is affected or not, all the embryos are also affected with this Wolbachia, and Wolbachia does not allow the virus to replicate. So this is another alternate method of genetic modification of mosquitoes for stalling the spread of diseases, dangerous diseases like dengue, chikungunya, and Zika virus. So India has also started trials on these. So that is it for today. Thank you.